NBC television network.
Last year at the Meadowlands, Al Unser Jr. tried the inside line on Emerson Fittipaldi, knocking Emo into the wall and out of the race. Little Al went on to win his second Meadowlands Grand Prix. Fittipaldi reacted accordingly, but a year tends to cool tempers. And so does a win at the Indianapolis 500, reminiscent of the Meadowlands confrontation as Little Al and Emo make contact in the corner. Two drivers in, one driver out, with Emerson Fittipaldi capturing the checkered flag this time. And that started a series of good fortune for Fittipaldi. At the Detroit Grand Prix, the outlook was bleak for Emo. An early incident with Mario Andretti delayed, but didn't deny the victory for Emerson Fittipaldi. And the Marlboro team of owner Pat Patrick was in celebration again as the year of Emo continued. In the next race at Portland, Fittipaldi ran out of fuel as the checkered flag dropped. He hitched a ride with Bobby Rahal back to victory lane. At Cleveland, Michael Andretti and leader Mario bumped in the pits, and that allowed Fittipaldi to claim his third consecutive IndyCar win. That sets the stage here at the Meadowlands as Emerson Fittipaldi goes for 4 in a row today on Sports World.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
The following program is pre-recorded.
Just a few miles west of the skyline of New York City, the Indy cars are ready to race in the Jersey Meadowlands. It's an overcast day. There's been rain, but it could be a very special day as NBC Sports brings you the Meadowlands Grand Prix presented by Nissan. Good afternoon, everyone. From the Meadowlands in New Jersey, I'm Don Crickey. On a day where we've had rain and could have more. But fortunately, we're under cover. It could be a special day for Emerson Fittipaldi. If he wins again today, it'll mark the first time in kart racing that one driver has won 4 events in a row. As you know, he led off his year winning the Indianapolis 500. Emerson Fittipaldi also could become, at the end of the year, only the second driver, Mario Andretti the first, to win both the Formula One World Championship and a Kart Indy World Championship. Fittipaldi is by far the points leader. I'm joined by a Racing Hall of Famer and a 3-time Indianapolis 500 winner, Johnny Rutherford. Johnny, Emo's always been a great driver, but this year's been extra special. What's the difference?
Well, I think Emerson Fittipaldi has what every driver looks for. He has, number 1, the car that he likes to drive very, very much. Number 2, he has a crew chief and an engineer that work very well together, getting the car set up the way he likes it. Number 3, he has a total team effort. Pat Patrick spares no expense, and they're having a tremendous year.
We're going to see the fastest field ever. Fittipaldi qualified for the pole, breaking his own record of a year ago. In fact, the top 8 qualifiers broke that record, so they're fast.
They are very fast. You know, it's come a long way, Don, from the days of the 4 grain scales and a tape measure we used to use to set up the cars. They're relying very heavily today on computer information, so they can take the car back to the shop, set it up for the next race with the computer information. The car arrives at the track in better shape, better condition, so that they're able to fine-tune it as they practice to get these speeds that we're seeing, and they're breaking records everywhere we run this year.
To give you an idea how fast the field is after Fittipaldi, the next 6 qualifiers were all within a 1/10 of a second of each other. Now to cover the fast-changing developments in the pit area, let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Well, Don, umbrellas are out here. It continues to rain, not heavily. They have just called for a wet start to this race. That means everybody must take the green flag with rain tires rather than the slicks. The man who starts alongside Emerson Fittipaldi here in the front row is a man who's had tremendous success in the history of this race here at the Meadowlands. His name is Mario Andretti, the only man ever to win world championships in Formula One and in Indy cars. He has never started anywhere but the front row in the history of the Meadowlands. 3 times in the pole, 3 times now outside front row. A winner here the initial year. Twice he has been a second-place finisher. He comes to this race off a second-place finish in the last event. That was just 2 weeks ago in Cleveland. He's hoping that maybe this will be his day to derail the Fittipaldi Express and get on to what has been, frankly, a disappointing season thus far for Mario Andretti. Now, there's another former Meadowlands and champion in this IndyCar competition a few rows back in the field, and our colleague Sally Larvick is alongside that car.
Thank you very much, Gary. Well, today marks the return of IndyCar champion Danny Sullivan. He's been a driver who's been sorely missed by his team for the past 4 weeks. Danny, who you may recall, broke his right forearm during a practice lap at Indianapolis in May, and since that time the doctors have asked him to sit out the last 2 races in hopes that his arm would heal. And that's because in Detroit, when he drove the car with a fractured arm, they found that the bone was separating a little bit, so they asked him not to drive at Portland and Cleveland. He complied, but he's here today and he's wearing a 9-inch cast. He says it's a little painful for him and he may have trouble making those right-hand turns, but he's determined to finish. Now the question is, how well will Danny drive? Well, it looks like practice makes perfect, because during the last practice session, Danny finished 3rd fastest. So he's going to be a driver to watch today at the Meadowlands. Now let's go back up to the booth with Don Criqui.
Thank you, Sally. Now for a dramatic moment before every IndyCar race, the commander rev up the engines. Here's honorary starter David Dangour.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Emerson Fittipaldi going for a 4th consecutive IndyCar win. A 42-year-old Brazilian and the most celebrated man internationally in world racing. It's a 1.2-mile oval, a road course actually here at the Meadowlands, and to tell us about it, my broadcast partner, Johnny Rutherford.
Let's go on a lap around the Meadowlands circuit with Al Unser Jr. We've just crossed the start-finish line, heading toward turn number 1. This is about 170 miles an hour, hard braking, downshifting into 3rd gear. You want to carry a lot of speed off of this corner because this is the back straightaway. Shifting gears, you're probably running again about 170 miles an hour at this point. Hard braking into turn number 2, grabbing 3rd gear, accelerating into 4th gear. You're down to about 60 miles an hour there, and then hard braking into turn number 4 and 5, which is a switchback, all the way down to 50 miles an hour. Short straightaway to turn 6, shifting gears again. About 10 or 12 shifts around this course, and there we have the start-finish line and 1 lap of the Meadowlands course.
Thank you, Johnny. The light rain seems to have lessened to a degree, and we're about ready for the green flag. 28 Indy cars set to go in the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix. We'll be back with the start of the race in a moment.
This is NBC's Sports World, and today it's brought to you by Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Budweiser.
At Lucite, we go to great lengths to test our tough, resilient paints, ensuring that our unique acrylic formula protects on the outside and on the inside. However, after years of testing, we're now faced with an even bigger challenge. Coming up with a test tough enough for Lucite. Lucite, that thick skin that won't give in.
Pick up tough Lucite paint at Zayre's. It's the thick skin that won't give in.
In the real world, this type of performance is caught only on a test track with a spy camera. But this is a real-world car with the design heritage of a 7-time world champion. Rich leather, premium sound, as comfortable at 30 miles per hour as it is at 130. Fewer than 500 will be handcrafted for the U.S. this year. Come, drive the Lotus Esprit Turbo.
Exclusively at Belmar Foreign Cars Allenwood and Miller Motor Cars Greenwich.
Have you ever seen a man who's bald look this good? We have. We see them every day. We're BioExcel, and we specialize in hair replacement. A unique process, near permanence, allows you to achieve a look never before possible. Nothing comes closer to your own hair. This man has tried everything, and nothing has made him look this good. BioExcel hair replacement. Near permanence for near perfection. For a free consultation, call 1-800-421-4801.
Better believe it's a new world out there.
A bold new world. A world of movers and shakers.
A world of difference.
Because the world of sports has changed. We're changing our world.
Discover a new world.
We're back at the Meadowlands Grand Prix presented by Nissan. 28 drivers set to go, $700,000 in prize money. Let's meet the drivers. On the pole, going for that 4th win in a row, Emerson Fittipaldi. Next to him in the front row will be Mario Andretti at age 49, still one of the world's best. In row 2, Al Unser Jr., the defending champion of the Meadowlands. And next to Al is Michael Andretti, who's not won since '87. In row 3, 3-time Indianapolis 500 winner Rick Mears. And Bobby Rahal, who won this event in 1987. In row 4, a fast-rising driver, Scott Pruitt. And the Italian driving for Porsche, Teo Fabi. In row 5, defending IndyCar world champion Danny Sullivan. And from Ireland, Derek Daly. From Holland, Arie Luyendyk. And Italian Fabrizio Barbazza. In row 7, Didier Taze, who hails from Belgium. And Kevin Kogan of the USA. In row 8, Scott Brayton, a driver to watch. And Brazilian Raul Boesel. In row 9, Randy Lewis. And Pancho Carter of a famous racing family. In row 10, Canadian John Jones. And former IndyCar Rookie of the Year, Dominic Dobson. In row 11, Scott Atchison. And Mexican Bernard Jourdain. In row 12, former 500 winner Tom Sneva. And John Paul Jr. In row 13, 4-time Indy 500 winner A.J. Foyt. And Jeff Wood. And in row 14, Colombian Roberto Guerrero. Rounding out the Meadowlands Grand Prix field, Steve Chassis. Big cars have started to roll. You see the weather conditions, 73 degrees, that high humidity. A light rain has lessened. Wind's not a factor, but the forecast is for continuing rain, although it is very light now, and the track is not really wet. They do have wet tires on, however. Johnny Rutherford.
Yes, and this is a critical point. We haven't had a lot of rain here. So,
somebody spun out. Dominic Dobson.
That's a little embarrassing. That shows you just how slick it can be out there. The tires are ice cold, and he obviously got into lower gear and kind of leaned into the throttle, and it came loose with him. So it is a little damp out there, wetter than it looks.
Fortunately for Dominic and his team, he's still running and ready to start. It'll be 150 laps, 180 miles. The defending champion, a 2-time winner actually, is Al Unser Jr. And there's the race analysis. Purse money $700,000, 28-car start. 180 miles, 150 laps. The race record, 99 miles an hour and change. That probably won't be beaten today with wet tires on. Al Unser Jr. in 88 last year set that record. We did have record qualifying speeds this year. And now we're coming to that dramatic moment. All the practice and preparation and the best drivers in the business ready to roll as they come down the straight. Ready for the green flag of the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix.
They did not get a start, Don. Look, Nick Penora is waving the yellow flag at Emerson Fittipaldi. Got a jump. He pulled out a little too far. Nick Penora says, oh, no, you don't. You guys are going to come down together, and so we see a false start. They are still timing. That will count. This lap counts during the start of the race. That was the official start, but they've got the yellow out, so they're going to have to come back around and line up.
Emma looking for the racer's edge.
Yes, he's you know, he's pushing, and you get a little little bit bumpy at this point in the season because he's won so many races. He knows that sooner or later that's got to come to a stop, even if it's just by one race, and that's very disappointing. So he's ready.
I think he's always ready. They weave in the warm-ups, cleaning up the tires, bringing the heat up in the rain tires that they're now working with. So the starting grid getting in alignment again, coming back down, ready to hit that main straight and the start line. And here they come with Fittipaldi on the pole. Mario Andretti next to him as they turn into the start-finish straight. The green flag is on and the race is on.
Mario Andretti pulled a good one there. He made Emmo hold back, knowing what they'd done first. But Emmo makes a pass going into turn number 1, takes the lead over. There are the three: Emerson Fittipaldi, Mario Andretti, and son Michael Andretti. Boy, that's the two Andrettis after Emmo. That's going to be something.
Michael Andretti, the third car, hasn't won since '87, but he's led every kart race this year except one. He's very much in the running every week. Fittipaldi, as you see, the leader, followed by Mario Andretti. They started in the front row last year.
It is very, very slippery out there. Now, you can see them. They can barely get in the throttle coming off of those turns because of the moisture. The tires aren't warm yet. They haven't cut a groove, so it is still very slippery. Very cautious time out there.
For the most part, the rain has stopped now. The umbrellas are down. As Emerson Fittipaldi continues to lead Mario Andretti and Michael Andretti running 1, 2, 3. Al Unser running fourth now, followed by Bobby Rahal, Rick Mears, Scott Pruitt, and Derek Daly.
They have pulled out to a substantial lead there, so it's a little comfortable for them. They're working a little better. Michael keeps putting the pressure on Dad there. We see him trying to make Mario slip a little bit or to push a little harder off of the turn. He is really wanting that second spot so he can go after Emmo.
There's not a lot of places to pass on this course. Most of the drivers feel that the end of the back straight is probably the best place in your position.
Well, you've got the car a little bit straighter, and you have the speed. If you can maneuver into position and the guy you're trying to pass doesn't cut you off, then you've got a chance to do it. Here we see that coming down on the inside. Michael's making a move. Looks like Mario is caught in a spot. Now he's trying to make it. There he goes. He's going to run with him down here. He has the advantage now, getting into turn number 2. So he will definitely pull it for him and make the pass.
Nicely done. Michael Andretti moves into second place behind Emerson Fittipaldi. These land-based rocket ships churn out upwards of 800 horsepower.
Now it'll be interesting to see if Michael can close the gap, and it looks like he's doing it. He is going to put pressure on.
Now let's go down to the pits and Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Don, let's quickly go to school here on the difference between rain tires and slick tires. This is a slick tire. There's absolutely no tread. This is normally the tire that these cars use under dry conditions. But obviously, when it's wet and there's water on the road, it's easy to get up on the water surface. You hydroplane, aquaplane, and slide. Thus, the rain tire. Now, this tire is being used by everybody for the start of this race. You see the deep channels or the grooves all the way through here. This channels the water away. It helps you get adhesion to the racing surface. It keeps you from sliding around. Don?
Thank you, Gary. How much does the strategy change now, John?
Well, it's just a matter of keeping the car under you. We saw a car spin on the first part. Michael Andretti has made a pass, and Mario Andretti, oh, he's nearly into the wall there. He slid across. Is still very, very slippery.
That's the very spot last year, as you know, Johnny, where Little Al and Emmo went into the wall last year. Emmo plugged the car, and Little Al drove to victory.
Right. Well, it's something now to watch this strategy, because Mario and Michael have gone to the lead, and we have Emmo sitting here. This is going to be interesting to watch Emmo. I think he knows that it's slick enough. If he tries any harder, he's going to lose it. He doesn't want to do that. That's where the experience of Emerson Fittipaldi comes to play.
Sounds like an oversimplification, but the big key to winning is finishing. A lot of cars run strong, but they don't go the distance. That's where the great drivers like Fittipaldi are so excellent. He's had problems in different races, but he's managed to negotiate trouble and get back on the lead.
You can see the dry spot where the cars have run. They have managed to take that moisture and spray it out of the groove so it looks a bit drier.
Now let's go to Sally Larvick. Sally?
Well, if Michael Andretti does very well in this race, he's going to have his father to thank for it. Normally, in the past, when they set up cars, they pass back and forth information, and then each driver decides how they want to set up his car. But Michael's car wasn't working well at all this weekend, and so he talked to Mario and decided to take his setup. So he's actually using Mario's setup. In this case, father did know best. Don?
The Andretti's running 1-2 right now. Mario trailing son Michael, as we're on board now with Al Unser Jr., the defending champion. He is currently 5th.
That's interesting to see, he and his new teammate of next year.
And with the pass, he now moves into 4th place, going by Bobby Rahal.
Yeah, they will be teammates next year for the Gallus racing operation, along with Maury Cranes and the Craco team. They have combined. So it's interesting to see. Here we're looking over Bobby's shoulder in the Craco car.
Bobby Rahal, the 37-year-old who won this event, as he pursues little Al Unser. Rahal, a former Indianapolis 500 winner also. So Michael Andretti running on the lead, followed by his dad. The rain has stopped for the most part, and track conditions, considering all, are quite good.
This year, 90 million people complained about the weather. 10 million complained about waiting in line. 60 million complained about their bosses. But according to J.D. Power's latest survey of new car owners, there were fewer complaints about the Nissan Maxima than any other car, which makes the Nissan Maxima the most trouble-free car sold in America, and leaves Maxima owners free to complain about more important things.
It's Bud to the feet.
Come on, Big Brahuna, surf's up.
Let's do it, Brew Doggy.
Hey, everybody, there's going to be a surf-off.
Cowabunga!
That's a big wave.
9-6.
Too big!
It's the Bonsai Pipeline.
Oh, whoa!
What happened?
Ooh, what?
Next time, let's just arm wrestle.
What's that?
Hey, buds, now you can get a special offer on Bud to the Beach sunglasses. Just look for this display wherever you buy Bud or Bud Light.
There's this point called flashover. Everything ignites at once. Temperatures hit 1,800 degrees. If your air pack screws up or something else gives out, you could have a problem. They say we're in love with our gear. I'd say we're obsessed.
For over 75 years, people who depended on their equipment and their vehicles have depended on us. Gates, the world's most trusted name in belts and hose.
Shoot with son of a gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a gun protecting. Man, what a difference.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
Next Sunday on NBC Sports World, the competition continues at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Olympian Brandy Johnson and superpower Tim Ryan, the new all-around champions, will lead America's best in the individual events finals. That's next Sunday on NBC Sports World.
Don Craigie with Johnny Rutherford back at the Meadowlands Grand Prix. A battle for second place right now. Mario Andretti is holding to the second spot behind his son Michael. The leader, Emerson Fittipaldi, the pole sitter, is now running third, but challenging Mario for second.
Yes, and it's still very slippery. When they get out of the groove, and now they're catching these slower cars, so the opportunity to get a straight shot at a corner is very difficult. You have to move over to get by that slower car, and it's slippery when you have to move over, so they're still very, very cautious.
That's Emerson Fittipaldi in the red and white Marlboro car, number 20. Each Indycar is permitted a 40-gallon fuel load, and they average 1.8 miles per gallon. Emerson Fittipaldi, a tremendous road racer, as you know, a two-time World Formula One champion, is pursuing closely Mario Andretti in a bid by Emerson to take over the second spot. That is Fittipaldi in the red and white Marlboro car, number 20.
getting the feel of his car and getting some confidence in it, and it's drying out a little more because he is making some more bold moves. He's moving from side to side on the track and making that opportunities for himself.
The car cam on board Little Al Unser, the defending champion, as he closes in on Emerson Fittipaldi, currently running third.
Has an opportunity to take advantage of this lapped traffic where they can get a car slowed in front of them trying to make the right moves, and he can move in, put himself in position. And if Emo slips, he's got him.
They spot the opening in a split second. The power of these cars is absolutely amazing. An Indycar can accelerate from 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds. Can go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds flat.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to drive. I really miss being out there, but you know, it's fun being up here watching this from this angle, because you get to see how everybody's strategy starts unfolding. Now we see Little Al getting the chance, getting that line, trying to pull up to get in position where he can make the pass. It's still a little damp in this area of the track, so it's going to be tougher for him to make the move to get out of line, because you can see the moisture there. So he's got to be very cautious, but on the faster parts, he can run with him. He can get him down into turn 1, set him up, race him down the backstretch, get him into turn 2. He might make the pass.
So much like a reprise of a year ago when Fittipaldi was running on the lead near the end of the race. And Al Unser Jr., who we're watching now with the car cam out, his auto, is pursuing Fittipaldi. And then you'll remember they went into that turn and there was contact, and Fittipaldi was into the wall and out of the race.
Yeah, the scoreboard has them even now. One here last year for Little Al and one in Indianapolis for Emo. So they're going to be going at it again.
Fittipaldi says, "I love this race course." And all the drivers agree. At first look, it doesn't appear to be a difficult course, but when you get on it, it is very difficult. Just running room is a problem. The average width of the course is 45 feet. At times, it narrows down to 31 feet. And there's concrete on both sides, concrete retaining walls, so the proverbial rock and hard place is on either side of the drivers.
Yeah, sometimes you really have to tippy-toe. Here we have a chance to look over Bobby Rahol's shoulder, and he is, you can see him working the car there, so it's still slippery in turn 1, and I think once that part gets ironed out, they'll be going a little faster.
One of racing's gentlemen, Bobby Rahal, running 5th now as we watch from the car cam. Rahal said of Fittipaldi, "It is an honor and a pleasure to drive against him." Fittipaldi is not only the most popular racing driver in the world with the fans, he is also very well liked by his fellow competitors.
Very much so. Of course, here we have cars stacked up by a slower car. We have Mario Andretti and Michael Andretti. Everybody, there's Emerson Fittipaldi. They're all working their way through this slower traffic. Al Unser's had a chance to keep up, and so has Bobby Rahal. So there is the race right there.
But Michael Andretti, 26 years old, continues to lead the Meadowlands Grand Prix. Mario Andretti still second, followed by Emerson Fittipaldi, Little Al Unser, and Bobby Rahal through the top 5 places. Then it's Rick Mears. Fabrizio Barlazza has moved up to number 7. Teo Fabi in the Porsche is now 8. Raul Boesel, another Brazilian driver, is 9th, and here's a pass.
Yes, Al Unser tried to make the pass on Emerson Fittipaldi there. Got in a very precarious position because it's still very damp at that end of the racetrack. So he was just trying to see if he could possibly get the squeeze on Emerson and have the chance to pass him.
It was the same place where you saw that pass attempt as last year where there was contact. That's going to come into play again today.
Yep.
And now Tom Sneva with a lot of smoke coming out of his STP car, a former Indianapolis 500 winner.
It's very hard to tell at this point, other than
he's all right.
Possibly the Buick might have had a problem. When he gets to the end after running it down the straightaway and gets out of the throttle, we'll see if it smokes. Yeah, you can see some smoke coming out there. So he's definitely got a problem. It's not just a leak.
He's a great guy. He'll drive till he's 80 if he can. He loves it, doesn't he?
Count on that.
Former 500 winner, the first man to turn a lap at Indianapolis over 200 miles an hour. That was likened to the 4-minute mile barrier in track and field. He did that back in '77 to Tom Sneva. Michael Andretti running on the lead in car number 6. Mario Andretti in 5 is second, being pursued closely by Emerson Fittipaldi. The leader, Michael Andretti, has led every kart race this year except one, but he's had trouble Mechanical breakdowns, contact with walls have cost him the checkered flag. Is not one, as we mentioned earlier, since 1987. Now back to Sally in the pits.
You know, this is the time of the year when the rumors start about drivers changing. There was something that occurred today that became a fact before it became the pit when he announced that Tom Siva would no longer be driving for him.
Check.
It's like having two quarterbacks. One can drive well the road courses, and the other one maybe you want to put on the ovals, or you want to take your best driver and take your best shot at each track.
Well, I think that's probably a reasonable way to put it. We have a scrambler and we have a passer, and I think that it's going to give us another outlook on the entire program, and it'll help us. It'll help teach us a lot, and we'll learn a lot from this.
You can't tell me, though, Tom is very happy with this.
Well, no, of course, all the drivers, they'd like to drive every single race and more than that, and test and everything else, and it's not an easy thing to handle, but he's not being terminated or fired or anything like this. He's our driver. He's just our driver. We just want to get a second opinion, if you have it. No reflection on the first.
Are you going to drive again for him?
If he asks me to, I'll, I'd like to help him out some more.
But nothing's set. No races are set.
No, nothing's set right now.
There's a lot of conversation, Johnny Rutherford, about drivers changing teams right now. Starting to throw more smoke is Tom Sneven. He looks like he's headed for a permanent shutdown here.
Yeah, he has some... whoa, we've got a spin. Dominic Dobson again in that same area.
It's Dominic Dobson who had problems at the outset of the race. Now you see Little Al Unser still in pursuit of Emerson Fittipaldi, who is running third. The Andretti's are 1-2. Michael the leader, Mario is second.
Heading into turn one, you can see the splatter there, so there's still a lot of moisture when they get the cars into the groove, and everything is drying out a little bit, but it's still got some moisture on the outside, so they've got to be cautious.
So the weather looks good. The track, for the most part, is dry. As, again, we go back to the car cam, and Little L is in pursuit.
Yeah, Roberto Guerrero.
Roberto
Guerrero was there as a slow car being lapped, and he obviously didn't see Al Unser Jr., so he cut into him, and they made contact, but it could have been disastrous, but they both made it through.
Guerrero and the newcomer to the kart Indy circuit, driving for Alfa Romeo, as Little Al negotiates the pass and gets by Guerrero. So the race running smoothly, the track conditions good, and Michael Andretti continues on the lead.
Oils are different, and personally I've always been very choosy. A modern engine requires a modern oil. You're asking the oil to do that much more. I think sludge can be a real detrimental factor, but the oil has to be able to overcome that. Be sure that you know the quality of oil that you're putting in there, and if you do that, obviously you'll never have any worry about sludge.
Die-Hard, America's most trusted replacement battery. The one over 65 million have stepped up to. Now Sears introduces the most powerful Die-Hard battery ever. New Die-Hard, more power when you need it most.
You know the difference between the AC Delco parts that go into race cars and the ones that go into your car? There isn't any.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
If you want to win, run with a winner.
Delco is the official battery of CART, the championship auto racing teams.
At Bic, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now Bic presents our solution, introducing the new Bic Metal Shaver. The patented Bic Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new Bic Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
For every man who wears there's Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to.
Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute, it smells like a man.
Two-time U.S. Open winner Curtis Strange, Fuzzy Zeller, and a field of golfing greats tee off at the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic today on NBC.
With Johnny Rutherford, Sally Larvik, and Gary Gerald, this is Don Prickey back at the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix, the NBC Car Cam. Aboard the car, the defending champion, Al Unser Jr., Little Al as he's known, as he pursues the man of the year of Emo, Emerson Fittipaldi in the Marlboro car number 20.
Now, you'd think looking at that Emerson was leading and Little Al was second. But we have the Andrettis, the father and son, who are very much out in front at this point and long gone, as they say.
Well, they've been running very well in recent weeks. And a lot of the racing people, as you know, John, here, thought they had an excellent chance, one of the Andrettis, to take this.
Yes, I would think that probably at this point, the way it looks, it could be one or the other, because Mario has broken loose from this group and has moved in chase of Michael, son Michael, who has moved out to a pretty substantial lead.
Back down to the pits, and here's Gary.
Well, we're down in the Emerson Fittipaldi pit. The crew came over the wall. They had tires out. They thought that Emerson had a puncture. But moving us back in here, we stayed off a hose. Well, we've just been removed from the position that we were in. We wanted to tell you what the situation was with Fittipaldi. They laid over the wall, and they brought the tires out. They thought he had a puncture. He went by, continued on the course. We're waiting to see whether or not he'll get in.
Gary, that sounded like a pretty direct order to clear out.
It was very direct. As direct as I've experienced in several years down here in the pits.
I recognize Mr. Patrick's voice, so there was some authority there for sure.
Pat Patrick, who heads up the Marlboro racing team, and its great driver, Emerson Fittipaldi. Interesting, no drivers ever won the Indianapolis 500 and the Meadowlands Grand Prix in the same year. Of course, Fittipaldi, in May, took the checkered flag at Indianapolis.
I'll tell you what, Al Unser Jr. is giving Emerson Fittipaldi all he wants right now. It's going to be a matter of getting the jump and being in the right place to make that move and outbreak him into the corner. It could come in turn one here. We'll watch.
Driving one of the Indy cars takes a lot out of these mobile athletes. Fittipaldi runs 5 miles a day to keep in shape to drive. Every day he goes 5 on foot.
It is very, very physical out there, Don. You can watch Al Unser's head here as he hits the bumps and he works. Now they're going down into turn 2 again. This is the point where Al is all over. If the track were to dry out enough here that he could use the other portions of it, I think Al could get by him.
While the Andrettis run 1-2, Michael and Mario continuing to stalk Fittipaldi is Little Al, who has been on his tailpipe now for 6 laps.
And we see Bobby Rahal doing the same to Al Unser Jr. So it's they've got a race going.
Here's where they open it up about 170 miles an hour. In the chicane area, they have to break down to a little over 50.
Boy, Al Jr. is really pressing. Now look at this. He has the prime spot. I don't know if he can do it. Emo is smart enough to be able to stay in the middle of the racetrack close to that inside wall. He knows that Al cannot go around the outside of him. So that was a brilliant move. Here, look, he's going around the outside. Al Unser has the line. He has the spot. We'll see if he can outbreak him into the turn and take the spot over. He does. Goes through the bell. No, he's in the slick part. He makes it.
Right where Little Al made the pass was right where Emo plugged into the wall last year and went out of the race. Here's Rahal. Car cam aboard Bobby Rahal's car. Danny Sullivan said one thing about a narrow track like this: when you are in front, you can shut the door on somebody trying to overtake. It doesn't take much.
It really doesn't. That was a brilliant move on Al's part, and now he's got a clear track. Of course, Rahal is in hot pursuit. And it's interesting, there we've got the Chevrolet, which has been the class of the field for all of this time. And there's the top Cosworth engine.
Let's watch on the replay now as they come to that area of great jeopardy on the course. Little Al moving on by Emerson Fittipaldi.
You can see the moisture there. He very nearly slid out and hit the wall. It was just amazing that he didn't, but he had the dry part when he came off of that slick.
was able to get traction and get the jump to take over Emerson Fittipaldi.
So Al Unser Jr. has moved into third place. Meanwhile, on the lead is Michael Andretti, running hard and running smooth.
Michael's car has worked extremely well in all of the last few races that we've seen him run. He's just had some bad luck at the end, had some breakages, things that put him out, little electronic glitches in the car, but he is doing a fine job again today. He's due. He is ready for a victory.
Fittipaldi, the pole sitter, had the lead for the first 3 laps of the race. Michael Andretti passed him on the 4th lap. Michael Andretti, who, as we mentioned earlier, has led every kart race this year except one. But he's failed to get a checkered flag. In fact, hasn't had one in 2 years. They asked Michael how he and his team felt about that.
Well, it's frustrating a little bit, you know, to be so close but yet not getting it. But that's part of this game. I've been there before. I've had many races where I've been leading and something happened. So just more of a character game. It seems like I'm becoming more and more a character every year.
Michael Andretti, born into the business. His father, one of the greats of the sport, Mario Andretti, and he's currently second is Mario. Michael Andretti, just 26 years old. In his career, he has 7 IndyCar wins. 10 seconds. Michael Andretti continues to lead the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix. Andretti and Unser behind him. Mario.
Once again, the last letter of the alphabet is the last word in sports cars. The new Z from Nissan.
95,000 miles and no problems.
Because Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Presenting a superbly engineered high-performance machine. One that's been race-bred by the world's finest drivers to deliver the ultimate overall performance. What do we call this masterpiece of engineering? Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug. Drive it today and find out for yourself why so many champions prefer Bosch.
Available at Kmart and other fine auto parts stores. Installed at most Precision Tune Centers.
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
The fiber that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police. Makes up the unique belt of Road Handler Treadlock radials.
Great low prices. Road Handler Tough. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
26-year-old Michael Andretti in the Halvoline car. Number 6 is on the lead. Michael Andretti, who won his last race at the close of the 87 kart season in Miami, the finale of the season. He's been so close. But Andretti, who took the lead on the 4th lap from the pole sitter Emerson Fittipaldi, has extended his lead now. Down in the pits is Sally Larvik.
Well, Well, Michael Andretti is certainly on a hot streak. He has led every race this year except for Portland. And while a lot of the drivers were hoping that it wouldn't rain during this race, Michael was hoping that it would because he's a very good rain course racer. And he also said that that would take some of the advantage away from Fittipaldi's car. And by the way, I was talking to the team and they said if they had to change tires right now, they would do it. They would go to the dries. And the program is when the car comes into the pits, they're going to go to dries. Back to you, Don.
Thank you, Sally. We are now through 30 laps of this 150-lap race, a fifth of the way through.
Michael has opened up nearly a half a lap lead, so he is really cooking. The car is operating. When he gets on dries, he's really going to fly.
Little L closing on Mario Andretti. Little L looking to take over the second spot in the race. Raul Boisel, a Brazilian, has become a factor. Started 16th and has now weaved his way through the field and is running 6th currently. He's picked up 10 spots.
Al Unser has moved right in on the bumper of Mario Andretti, so it was obvious that Emerson was holding him up. That is quite a gaggle of cars to have to work through. They've got to be very, very cautious. As slick as it is in some spots, they could get forced into a position where they would bump the wall and it would be all over.
As you know, Johnny, heavy traffic is going to be a continuing problem here at the Meadowlands. This road course is only 1.2 miles.
Very quick around here. Emerson set a new record and did it just right under 38 seconds, 37.9. So here we see them moving in.
Johnny, we have a yellow flag in outside. Yellow flag right now. Some debris on the track around turn 8.
Well, they've gone to a full course yellow, so that will diminish Michael's lead.
Getting ready to pit for the first time in the race.
Now this.
The Craco team with Bobby Rahal driving, geared up and ready to service his car. And here comes the leader, Michael Andretti, into the pits for the first time. So he's lost his 21-second advantage.
Yeah, he will put on dry tires, take on a full load of fuel, and get a little refreshment, head back out, and I think as dry as the track is in the group, with the dries, they'll go a little quicker.
That didn't take long. 14 seconds and change. 16th the magic number. If you come in 16 or under, you've done a great job in the pits.
That was a very good stop under the conditions. Here's the second and third place moving in. Now it'll be interesting to see who gets the best service and back out.
40 gallons of fuel. It's contained in rubberized nylon tanks. Mario's in the pits now. 1.8 miles to the gallon. Here's Emerson Fittipaldi, the pole sitter, who was 5th when he came into pit for the first time, and now they take care of Bobby Rahal. Scott Atchison has a right rear flat, as you see in the pits.
Obviously running out there, it's getting dry enough that it ate up his right rear tire, and it looked like it disintegrated on him. There we saw a close one with the Porsche getting very close to Emerson as he left the pits. It is very narrow pit exit here, so you've got to be very cautious, and that was close.
So the man going for what would be a record 4th straight kart win on the Indy circuit is now back on the track, Emerson Fittipaldi. The Meadowlands Grand Prix is more than a Sunday afternoon Indycar race. It's a good time for a number of days through the practice and timing runs. Approximately 5 miles from the bright lights of New York City is the world's largest sports complex, the Meadowlands, the home of the Jets, the Giants, the Nets, the Devils, thoroughbred and harness racing. And this weekend, the scene of the Meadowlands Grand Prix. Not just a sporting event, but a weekend festival with activities for fans and drivers alike.
So I think that it is refreshing to have an event, so to speak, where it's not sitting in your seat and watching some players on the field. You're up close. You're right next to the Indycar garage. You see the drivers riding around on their mopeds. You get to say hi to Danny Sullivan. It's behind the scenes. It's touch and feel. It's the color. It's the glamour, and it's a lot of fun.
As this event has grown in popularity in the metropolitan New York area, more and more you see the special relationship between the IndyCar drivers and their fans. The Meadowlands Grand Prix is more than an exciting and glamorous IndyCar race. It's a happening, good times and good fellowship, and a sport born in the Midwest is part of the New York sports scene now.
course, I spend a lot of time in the city, and there are an awful lot of them that are race fans, and everybody, you know, you get stopped on the street, people are yelling at you out of trucks and cabs, and how's it going, and they follow it. So I think it's important for IndyCars to be here.
Celebrities abound off the track, like owner Paul Newman checking out the Andretti team, artist Leroy Neiman sketching the car of Emerson Fittipaldi. Socialite sportswoman Cornelia Guest is part of the scene, and no trip to New York would be complete without a pit stop on the David Letterman Show. David's a big IndyCar fan, but not the best at changing Teo Fabi's tire. European Formula One used to be auto racing's glamour circuit. IndyCar racing now has the black tie style that draws the movers and shakers, as was evident by the Marlboro Ball that benefited Meals on Wheels.
We make appearances for sponsors locally, and you gain a lot of support. And I feel that this event, from year to year, is going to gain momentum, and it's going to be a great event in years to come.
They're under full yellow right now, but we're ready for a green flag very shortly, and should have it when we come back to the Meadowlands Grand Prix.
How hot can it get inside your car's engine? 570 degrees under extreme conditions. Take a leading motor oil. Take Mobil 1. Of course, Mobil 1 costs more. But under extreme conditions, when you see what can happen to conventional motor oil, it doesn't pay to play with fire. Mobil 1. Isn't your car worth the extra protection?
Only one oil finished #1 at the 1989 Indy 500. Mobil 1, the choice of champions.
Die Hard, America's most trusted replacement battery. The one over 65 million have stepped up to. Now Sears introduces the most powerful Die Hard battery ever. New Die Hard, more power when you need it most.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear for you. The king of beer, so fresh, so true for you. You got the taste, this bud's for you.
You know, thrifty car rental is thrifty price for everyone.
Well, Henry, this is a good deal. Sign it.
It's an offer you can't refuse.
Sign it.
Why don't you get a larger car to entertain friends?
Now I'll sign it.
Now at Thrifty, test drive a fine North American touring car with European styling. Rent a new Eagle Premier, just $36.95 a day at participating Thrifty locations.
Go ahead, make my reservation.
Electricity? Hey, no problem. Want to know any more? Ask Ace. That's what I do.
The Intermatic programmable timer is just $397, and his lightweight angle broom is a best buy, just $147.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
Two-time U.S. Open winner Curtis Strange, Fuzzy Zeller, and a field of golfing greats tee off at the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic today on NBC.
The Goodyear Blimp America from Houston, Texas, high over the largest sports complex in the world, the Meadowlands of New Jersey. And here is the green flag, and we're running full speed ahead again.
Nearly everyone is on dry tires now, so it will be interesting to see the pace pick up and to see if someone gets out into that little bit of moisture that's still left, if they go for a ride into the wall, because slick tires like they have on now to run on a dry pavement are really treacherous when it gets wet.
And right now you're going for a ride on the car of little Al Unser, who's been passing people and currently is running #2 to Michael Andretti. The old order giveth way, and the young drivers asserting themselves. Michael Andretti, 26, is the leader. Al Unser Jr., 27, trails him. Right now he's moving up on Pancho Carter in the Hardee's car. Little Al's a driving son of a gun, isn't he?
He's moving right along. He's the only one that's ever won this twice, so he wants to make it a 3-time.
Great ones don't back off.
No, they take every advantage. You give them an inch, they'll take an inch. Quite a gaggle of cars there. Ray Hall and Mo and Mario right there going at it, coming through some slower cars.
Ray Hall in the yellow and blue car. Aboard the car, the NBC car cam of Bobby Rahal as he tries to get by Mario Andretti, car #5.
You can see Mario take that inside line so he could protect his flank there. He knew that Rahal
teams going to the slicks for dry conditions. Bobby Rahal was one of those who went to the slicks. But right next door, over here in the Emerson Fittipaldi pit, they stayed on the wets. He has rain tires on. So it's a whole different strategy for two teams next to each other here at the end of pit road. Now we wait and see what the performance is like on the racetrack.
Thank you, Gary. We're through 41 laps of this 150-lap race. The attrition factor has not been great. Here's a spin out and a car in trouble.
Al Unser Jr. has spun in that same very damp spot. It is, you can see the oil light there, his engine. He's revving it, trying to keep it going so he can not kill it when he steps that clutch. And he's up against the fence. He can't go anywhere. Waiting for the traffic to thin out a little bit so he'll have a clear spot of the track. Now he's killed the engine. It appears that he's, maybe not, they're just backing him up so he'll get a chance and not hurt a wing. He was concerned about that.
Every driver has racing luck. Sometimes it's bad. And little Al in position so he could not get going. He gets a hand, and now he's back in the race, but of course has lost his lead in a substantial margin.
He still had the engine running. He was just up against the wall. Here we're with Rahal, and he's still giving Mario fits, trying to get into position. Mario has a slower car there. Rahal will try to use this to his advantage to make the move.
Rahal running under Cosworth power. The Andretti's who lead the race, Michael and Mario, of course, are Chevrolet V8 powered. They turn out the most horses, the Chevrolet engines on the IndyCar circuit.
They are right behind Al Unser Jr. there, who spun and has lost, obviously, a lap. He is a lap down at this point. Raul Boesel, we mentioned earlier there, has come from way back in the pack to a substantial position. So
that's Raul Boesel in the Domino's Pizza car. Red, white, and blue, a Brazilian who's the protege of his fellow countryman, Emerson Fittipaldi.
That was a shot that Bobby Rahal might have been able to use. Here is Al Unser's spin. We see him entering the turn. He's running up on Raul Boesel in the Domino Pizza car. He just got into the wet, tagged the wall with the left side. It upset the car, spun it out.
Our producer, J.D. Hansen, our director, Don Ohlmeyer. Let's go down to Sally Larvik.
I'm with Rick Gallis. Rick, what happened?
It just, we spun the car. We put on slicks, and because Mario and Michael did, and it's still a little bit wet out there, so just spun it. We'll try to make up some time now.
Sounded like you decided to put on slicks because everybody else did.
Right,
Was that the wrong decision?
Leaders do.
Okay, so apparently he's back out on the track, but obviously he's lost his position.
The battle between Rahal and Mario Andretti. Mario running second.
We could see either moisture or something off of the track coming up on the lens of the camera. It is still very moist out there.
Rahal made the pass, and Rahal now moves into the second spot behind Michael Andretti, the leader. There's Mario, car number 5.
Now we'll see how much he was holding him up. If he pulls away, then Mario is really taking it easy and waiting for the end of this thing. You know, he has a great deal of experience on this track, and it could be that he's playing it just right.
Al Unser Jr., who was the leader for most of the race after taking over the top spot from Emerson Fittipaldi on the 4th lap, has now dropped back to 5th place after spinning out. Michael's lead is back up to almost 22nd, the lead of Michael Andretti. Emerson Fittipaldi, Johnny Rutherford, doesn't seem to be running that well.
No, he really doesn't. He is just kind of holding his own, and as I said, he is still on the wet, so he feels like he doesn't want to have the dries and slip into one of those spots that's still very damp and lose it.
That's Teo Fabi in the 8 car, the green and white Porsche, making their mark more and more in kart racing. They're contending for 6th position. Boesel is just ahead now.
Scott Pruitt is in there in that red number 3, the Budweiser car. So there's 3 of the young Lions going at it.
Fittipaldi coming on hard now. Right behind him is Rick Mears, who hasn't been a factor so far. Rick Mears, the 3-time Indianapolis winner who won the opening event on the kart circuit this year at Phoenix, is currently running 9th.
There we see Scott Pruitt, whose best Meadowlands finish was 16th. Oh, there we. The Raynor car with Derek Daly has slowed. I don't know if he got out of shape or if the car has broken. It appears that he is out of power and he's just coasting, and he'll probably come to a stop, and that will bring out a full course yellow.
Derek Daly from Dublin, Ireland, has not had the luck of the Irish in this event. He went out on the first lap last year, and now he appears to be in deep trouble in his Renault car as we have the tightly bunched group here heading into a turn.
That is a real dogfight. We see, oh, we've had a car into the wall. Scotty Brayton has crashed into the wall.
So Brayton looking into the wall, and they're hopeful he can keep it going. Scott Brayton
has some damage there, and he's still under power, so he's going to be able to make it to the pits and maybe get the front wing replaced.
He was running well, John. He was 10th, Scott Brayton, before the spin out.
Still very treacherous down there. It is very damp in that particular section of the racetrack, so guys get a little bit caught, a little bit careless.
And as you see on the leaderboard, Michael Andretti back on top with Ray Hall running number 2.
This year, 90 million people complained about the weather. 10 million complained about waiting in line. 60 million complained about their bosses. But according to J.D. Power's latest survey of new car owners, there were fewer complaints about the Nissan Maxima than any other car, which makes the Nissan Maxima the most trouble-free car sold in America, and leaves Maxima owners free to complain about more important things.
The fiber that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police, makes up the unique belt of Road Handler treadlock radials.
Great low prices. Road Handler Tough. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
Who uses Valvoline motor oil? People like leading race car driver Al Unser Jr.
If a driver ever told you, no, I don't get scared, I'm not scared, he's lying to you. The technology that goes into the Indycar is second to none. Over half the field at Indy is using Valvoline. If there was a motor oil out there that was better, it would be in my car.
People who know use Valvoline.
For the fire, for the drive, for pushing hard. Each time you try.
World champions for the 4th year in a row, the Budweiser King, and Motor Week's Driver of the Year, Kenny Bernstein.
This Bud's for you.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to.
Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute, it smells like a man.
An American tradition continues. The nation spent the summer of '61 watching Roger Maris swing his way into baseball immortality. Next Saturday, home run leader Kevin Mitchell powers the Giants as they face the Cubs, or the Reds meet the Expos. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
4 cars on the lead lap. Michael Andretti leads the way.
We have a tremendous battle here, Don. Back in the pack. He's getting into him. There must be something wrong with Roberto's brakes, or he's slipping because he's run into the back of Sullivan twice now. There you can see he's pulled back a little bit.
There's something wrong with Roberto.
Yeah, Roberto's brakes are either locking up on him or he's got a problem because he hit Sullivan twice.
Sullivan not running well. He's been lapped twice, and now...
Yeah, he's got a flat left front tire. It looks like that it's dragging on him. There you can see now he's noticed that he's slowed down, so he'll get to the pits and get a fresh tire. He's cut one down somewhere, or something's happened there because you can see it locked up earlier, and there he gets on the brakes a little bit. Tires, see, locks up. There you can see. Oh, we got a spin. Car number 28.
Randy Lewis.
Lewis is spun. That end of the track is still very wet, Don.
So Randy Lewis, a big impediment now as he is angled out onto the course. Number 28, Randy Lewis, we're just over a third of the way through the race. We're into the 52nd lap for the leader.
That's a very precarious position because he's hidden from the oncoming traffic.
Let's go back down to Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Don, we've been checking on the progress of Danny Sullivan. He's in 14th position. He's lost 2 laps to the leaders, and we were wondering if the arm was causing him any difficulty. We understand that before that first pit stop, he did check with the crew and said no pain from the arm, but he did feel the contact from Guerrero. He radioed Chuck Sprague, his crew chief here on the wall, said, I got hit from the backside, but apparently no damage. The crew was craning, watching him fly by on the straightaway. He stays on the track. Danny Sullivan, of course, has been the target of a lot of speculation that's been going on. You get to the middle of the season, it's called the silly season frequently because everybody starts speculating about who's going to drive where in 1990. There have been reports that Sullivan is going to be driving for Porsche next year. Well, we thought yesterday, let's go to the source. Let's find out exactly what Danny Sullivan is thinking. Danny, a tremendous amount of speculation about your driving future. Where are you going to be in 1990? Can you shed any light on that situation?
Well, it's kind of amazing you missed 2 races and everybody says you're going here and there. I've heard all the rumors. As far as I know, I'm still going to be at Penske's. I haven't had any firm offers from anybody else, so that's where I plan to be.
Are you hoping to entertain offers?
I'm not saying anything at this time. I just plan to be there, and I'll listen to anybody, but in my mind, the way everything is, I'm going to be at Rogers. I haven't talked to anybody else.
Have you had any ongoing negotiations for next season with Roger?
Yes.
So the speculation continues right now. The course is under a full course yellow after the spin out by Randy Lewis. As you saw, he was angled out on the course, and there is Danny Sullivan in the Miller High Life car. So they're under full course yellow. There was one earlier for 4 laps.
You know, when Sullivan set out those recent events in Portland and Cleveland, it marked the first time he did not compete in a kart race since 1983.
Danny Sullivan, the defending PPG kart champion. Coming back after that arm fracture, Michael Andretti continues to stand tall in the lead of the Meadowlands Grand Prix.
What do you have? Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog.
Excuse me. Gus.
1 minute.
Sorry.
Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog, a large.
Hey, Lord. Gus, I told you, to be hot dog kings, we need lots of Bud Light. Not Bull Light?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Now what do you think? It's beautiful.
Because everything else is just a light.
Hey, what about my pizza puffs?
What do I know about carpentry? Hammer, thumb. Want to know any more? Ask Ace. That's what I do.
This Lufkin 16-foot locking tape measure is just $4.66. This aluminum 2-step folding ladder is just $6.99.
Hey, Ace is a place for me.
Exotic alloys, complex designs. Today's automobile engines are minor miracles of efficiency and power, but at a price. They generate more of the damaging filth called sludge. Today, what's required is a motor oil scientifically formulated to virtually eliminate sludge. There is one, Haviland Superior Grade.
This is Don Criqui with Johnny Rutherford back at the Meadowlands Grand Prix after 60 laps of this 150-lap race. Michael Andretti is the leader, has led for 57 of the 60 laps. Started in the second row, but overtook the pole sitter Emerson Fittipaldi on lap 4.
That's twice now that Michael has lost a very substantial lead to the caution flag, so it'll be interesting to watch him now, see if he can pull back away, because he's been able to all day.
The rain has stopped. The track is dry. After the first pit stops, they're all back on slick tires. The fastest tire, they're out of the wets. Started the race with wet racing tires, treaded tires. 4 cars are out, 24 still running. Not much attrition.
Emerson Fittipaldi lost a lap on his pit stop, and he's now 1 lap down, but the Andrettis are still up front.
Here's Danny Sullivan, who had some problems with the contending car a bit back. You remember the Alfa Romeo, driven by Roberto Guerrero, banged him twice, once very loudly. Here it is, listen.
There he just nudged him going into turn 2. They got going again, and Guerrero obviously doesn't realize that his left front is flat. Now watch this and listen. Boy, that's a pretty good bump.
Starts to hurt.
Yeah. It's amazing that it didn't create more problems than that, but that was you can see the skin marks on the nose of Guerrero's car.
let's go down to Sally, who's with the Alpha team.
Okay, we've heard your version as to how it happened. Now, Johnny Campbell, you heard from Roberto on the radio. How did that accident happen?
Well, he was coming up on Danny Sullivan, and they had traffic in front of him, and Danny braked a little early, and he didn't realize it, and he drilled Danny real hard and blew out a couple of his tires and tore her left front wing up, but the suspension and chassis seem all right. We had a lengthy pit stop, replacing the front wings and the tires and refueling again.
Okay, he seems to be okay out there, no handling problems?
No handling problems with it.
Okay, that's the version from the Caples pit.
Thank you, Sally. With the contact and the extended pit stop, Roberto Guerrero has dropped back to 18th. Michael Andretti, the leader. Mario Andretti running behind him. Bobby Rahal, Little Al, and Emerson Fittipaldi complete the top 5 at this point in the race. Through 63 laps. Scott Pruitt, a rising driver in pursuit of the green car of Teo Fabi, a 34-year-old aeronautical engineer from Milan, Italy. Interesting man, Teo Fabi. Was a champion downhill skier. As he puts it, I'd like to go fast.
Yes, that's Teo is an extremely competent driver. Here we have a shot from Ari Leyendijk's car, and Ari is setting right between the two cars. So maybe we'll get a chance to watch the pass on Leyendijk if it happens. We'll get a chance to watch a little bit of the action ahead of him.
The green and white car, that of Teo Fabi, the Porsche. Becoming more and more of a force on the hard circuit.
Pruitt is pushing very hard, trying to get up into position to make a pass on Leyendijk so he can get a run at Fabi. The Porsche has been getting, as you say, stronger and stronger with each race, and it is, I think it's going to be something to be reckoned with next year.
Pruitt got by Leyendijk. Pruitt in the red Budweiser car. Challenging is one thing, getting around the other, the leading car, is another on this tight course.
And that's two of the different types of engines that we see on the circuit today. Bobby's car, of course, has the new Porsche engine, and the other car has a Judd engine, which the other two competing engines are the Cosworth and the Chevrolet. So there are two different types of engines going at one another.
Completed 66 laps of the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix. Michael Andretti running in the lead. Teo Fabi coming up in his green and white car, pursued tightly by Scott Pruitt.
Well, they've got to thread the needle through that turn 4 and 5 because it is still looks very damp on either side of the groove, so they've got to stay in that groove. There you can see Nick Fenora waving the blue flag, the move-over flag for the slower cars to get out of the way of those faster cars and let them compete.
Bobby is running 8th, and now Scott Pruitt behind him running 9th. Pruitt came very close to a checkered flag at Detroit. He led with only 4 laps to go and then finished second to Fittipaldi. Let's find out more about the Porsche racing team.
The heralded arrival of Porsche to the Indycar ranks came at Laguna Seca in the fall of 1987, but the car's early performance was hardly encouraging. Despite the diligent efforts of veteran driver and project director Al Holbert, progress seemed to be stymied by frustration as the season ended at Miami. It was a time for patience and perseverance.
When you're starting with all new people, there's so much to learn for everybody. Right from the trucks, the guys that take care of the trucks to the cars, and all the support equipment and all the home-based guys, the machinists, all the rest of it. It just takes a long time to get everybody to know their jobs and to be familiar with everything.
Through much of the 1988 season, improvement came slowly, but there were still anxious moments such as this spin and wall-banging incident at Pocono. Problems also fell on the backup car that weekend, and it was a frustrated Teo Fabi who finally tossed the wheel aside in disgust. But those frustrations paled in comparison to the stunning blow that befell the team in fall when Holbert died in a plane crash. Unknown to most, Holbert had reached agreement with Penske team manager Derek Walker to join the Porsche camp shortly before Holbert's death. For Walker, the challenge suddenly was bigger than life.
I think the most impact it had was more trying to become Al Holbert to the guys who'd really looked at him as a father figure. So I didn't try to compete with that.
But the monstrous challenge is being met, and all believe victory looms ahead.
Well, sure, there is a lot of satisfaction, but not enough yet. You know, we really want to win, and keep working very hard to get this first win.
The Porsche team won its first pole at Portland and has backed that effort with a pair of fourth-place finishes in the last two events.
There's been times where you didn't think it was possible, for sure, especially the first year. And then this season, it's, you know, gotten better and better at each race.
It's been a painstaking process, but it seems certain success is coming to this team. Soon, one of the grand marks of motorsport will add a victory in IndyCar competition to its long list of accomplishments.
Porsche's progress very good indeed, as you see. 4 top 5 finishes this year. And now up to 4th in the point standings, and this is a team that a lot of people think is going to get better and better. As we look from the Goodyear blimp at the leader, Michael Andretti. Let's take a look at the running order through 50 laps of the Meadowlands Grand Prix.
That's an interesting shot to see the line that they take and watch them catch the slower cars. That's moving into turn number 1. You can see he's got a slower car there, so he really has to watch himself and make sure that they don't knock him out of the race, which has been what's happened to poor Michael at every race this year. Something has happened. He touched with his father in a couple of races in pit stops, so it's this is one I think he's going to take it a little bit easy, but it doesn't look like it. He has been able to pull away to a half a lap lead after every caution flag we've had.
Attrition, not a big factor. Still only 4 cars out of the race, 24 running in very good conditions now after some early rain. Barbatza's out. So is Didier Tays. Tom Snebe, you recall, went out, and Steve Chassie went out on the 13th lap. Those are the 4 drivers who are no longer in competition. Scott Pruitt challenging Teo Fabi as the Pruitt tries to overtake him for 6th place.
They have been battling for some time now, Don, and Scott Pruitt is brand new on the circuit and has caught up to it very well, extremely well. He has finished 2nd in Detroit, so the young man is destined for greatness, I think, in IndyCar racing.
I tell you, to get a chance to go to a kart Indy race in your area, don't miss it. It is a terrific time and a spectacular event.
I noticed a while ago with these cars down the long front straightaway, they were getting it up enough speed that you would see the contrail. You could see a little wisp of looked like smoke coming off of the end of the wings, rear wings.
We're on board Bobby Rahal's car now, the Craco car. As we see, through 73 laps, 2 short of the halfway mark, Michael Andretti is on the lead.
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
Die-Hard, America's most trusted replacement battery. The one over 65 million have stepped up to. Now Sears introduces the most powerful Die-Hard battery ever. New Die-Hard, more power when you need it most.
Calm before the storm. The driver introduction will be on.
Brought to you by CART and the IndyCar drivers.
Now we're aboard the Craco car with Bobby Rahal, the NBC car cam, giving you a driver's eye view as he negotiates the Meadowlands course.
Here you can see him going into that turn number 2, getting the right gear selected, coming out, going there. Oh, there's cars spinning everywhere. Oh, look at the wreck. There's
1, 2, at least 2 cars.
2 cars. Andretti has a broken left rear, and Pancho Carter's up against the wall. Emo made it through.
Fittipaldi got through unscathed, but that's right, Johnny. There was definitely a problem with the left rear tire of Mario Andretti, as we now have a full course yellow out. So we'll have to survey the damage as the bad luck of Mario Andretti continues. He's had a lot in the recent years.
Yes, he really has, and that's a shame. It looked like it was going to be another good day for Mario because he was running so well. He and Michael both running 1-2 most of the race.
Last time they ran 1-2 at the checkered flag was back in '86 at Portland. But Andretti definitely has a major problem now as we're on board now with little L. Let's go down to Sally Larbick, who's with Mario. Sally?
Okay, as we're standing, Mario's watching Michael come in, and what they're going to do is they're going to change from dry tires to wet tires. Michael himself has had problems on the track. He says that it seems to him like the fuel is running out. So they've got the black box ready just in case, but they're not going to do it now. Instead, they put him on wet tires, and he is off. And Mario, at least it's got to make you feel good that at least Michael is doing well so far on the track. Very disappointing for you.
Yeah, he's really doing very well. In our situation, was just the track was just literally blocked back there, and I just hit Lil Al in the back, and I got hit in the back myself and bent the suspension. So
what you're saying is it really was nobody's fault. You just got stuck in traffic.
Nobody's fault, exactly. It was somebody spun in front of us, and literally blocked the track because there were more than one cars. To me, it looked like anyway. And when I arrived there, it was just a little out sideways, and I couldn't stop, and I hit him, and I got hit in the back. And I didn't know just whether it did any damage, but obviously I did.
Obviously, you're real pleased with the performance of the car up until this point.
Yeah, it was going really well. It was going. I could see I was a little bit more cautious than Michael. Michael was really going after it, but the race was still quite long, so.
Okay, thank you, Mario. We're going back to green. Let's go back up to the booth.
Once again, racing luck. Sometimes it's bad. It was today for Mario Andretti as we're back under a green flag now. And the leader is Michael Andretti in the white car, the Kmart car number 6, who's led virtually the entire race after taking over the top spot from pole sitter Emerson Fittipaldi on the 4th lap of this 150-lap race. They're now through 83 laps.
Don, you can see how much the moisture, it has started raining again, and they're starting to see moisture go in the air from the cars. Everybody's gone back to the wet tires, so it is very, very treacherous. That is a large, extremely large group of cars to have to run around. Somebody's going to bump in there, and Michael is right in the middle of it.
So we mentioned the course averages width 45 feet. It narrows at some points down to 31. The Indy cars are a shade over 15 feet in length. They weigh just over 3/4 of a ton. They must weigh at least 1,550 pounds.
Michael is moving through traffic well. His car is still working, and he's got the confidence in it. So he's moving in now on the Porsche of Teo Fabi. And it's going to be something to watch. You can see him push out there just a little bit. Get a little wide coming out because he is trying to be aggressive with the car, but he really can't because it's too slick.
The rain is light, but it's rather steady now. We're just getting a report, Johnny, that Bobby Rahal's engine is misfiring.
Oh, that's a shame. Bobby, you can see Michael slide there. It is getting wet out there. This light rain falling is very slick. There's the battle for 5th. 1 lap down behind Michael. Car number 3 of Scott Pruitt. Car number 8 of
Teo Fabi.
Battling
for 5th. Pruitt is currently running 5th. They started with rain tires on today. Track was wet. The first pit stops, most of them went to slicks. Now, when they pitted again, they've gone back to the rain tire.
And it is getting wetter and wetter out there. You can see they're having to really tippy-toe through these turns. Danny Sullivan, several laps down, a couple of laps down anyway, is having his problems today. The car must not feel just right to him. The cars are all bunched up, staying bunched up after that yellow.
Scott Pruitt continues to hold 5th place ahead of Teo Fabi. Little Al is running 4th. Michael Andretti, Bobby Rahal, Fittipaldi, Unser, and Pruitt through the top 5. But as we mentioned, Rahal is having some engine problems now, according to his pit. Michael Andretti looking to lap some people and extend his lead.
Yes, he's having a good day. He's running just right. He's made the right decisions as far as the tires go. And here we see the... Oh, Oh, they're very, very close there. Pruitt got a little bit wide getting in and had to really brake to keep from sliding out, and Bobby was able to pull out a little bit of a lead on him. Raul Bosell is currently riding right between them in the Domino's car. Rick Mears has been, we can see in that bright yellow Pennzoil car, has been moving up all day, and he comes to the front and he has a stop or has a problem, moves, you know, and gets caught in traffic or makes his stop and moves back. So he's kind of yo-yoing there, and it will be interesting to see which end of the spectrum he winds up on at the end of the race.
As you know, Johnny, Michael Andretti, the leader, and little Al Unser Jr. is running fourth, have known each other since they were babies. Their fathers were teammates years ago, and they played together since they were little kids.
Michael making his move, making the move on Scott Pruitt. Michael Andretti is now, he's going to go by Bosell down this back straightaway. Michael is the class of the field. There's no doubt about that.
As he passes two cars, Michael Andretti still running hard and running smooth in the lead. Michael Andretti has led virtually the entire race. We're now through 87 laps, and he's held the lead for 84.
Guys are really picking their way around. It's getting very slippery out there. Michael is moving in on the Porsche of Teo Fabi now. What's happened here? We had a spin. Car spin. Teo Fabi's bumped into John Jones, who spun coming off of that turn number 6.
Michael Andretti got through, though.
Yes, he did. He was in the right spot, so maybe his luck is changing. There you can see John Jones tearing something and bending the front suspension on the Porsche car, so that was very inconvenient.
Looks like Teo Fabi is done racing for the day, and Michael Andretti was right behind when that contact was made, but he got through. So Michael Andretti's racing luck holds up while his father's did not.
Nissan builds cars for people who have a certain enthusiasm for the cars they drive. Of course, some drivers are a little more enthusiastic than others. Nissan, built for the most demanding race of all, the human race.
There's a motor oil that talks about quality. Always has, always will. Well, Valvoline makes the highest quality motor oil recommended by any automobile manufacturer. Oh yeah, unlike the competition, Valvoline also makes the motor oil used by 7 out of 10 Indy 500 crew chiefs. That's 7 out of 10 Indy crew chiefs over the last 10 years. People who know use Valvoline.
When you rent from some car companies these days, you can really get soaked. That's why I'm ecstatic about Thrifty Car Rental. Their rates on new Chrysler cars certainly won't murder your wallet.
Now at Thrifty, test drive a fine North American touring car with European styling. Rent a new Eagle Premier, just $199.95 a week at participating Thrifty locations.
Call Thrifty. They're Thrifty price for everyone.
There's this point called flashover. Everything ignites at once. Temperatures hit 1,800 degrees. If your air pack screws up or something else gives out, you could have a problem. They say we're in love with our gear. I'd say we're obsessed.
For over 75 years, people who've depended on their equipment and their vehicles have depended on us. Gates, the world's most trusted name in belts and hose.
Two-time U.S. Open winner Curtis Strange, Fuzzy Zeller, and a field of golfing greats tee off at the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic today on NBC.
Don Fricke with Johnny Rutherford back in the Meadowlands Grand Prix, and now Michael Andretti has hit the wall on this wet track. So Michael Andretti, who's run so well so many times this year, there's only been one kart race this year that he has not led. And he led virtually the entire way through almost 90 laps today. But like his daddy, apparently hit the concrete retaining wall. Maybe he was bumped. But Andretti in deep trouble now. Michael Andretti, as to whether or not he can continue the race.
Yeah, it's all over. He's getting out of the car. The car was substantially damaged. Both of the left side suspensions were bent. The car is definitely out unless they can pull a rabbit out of a hat. And that is truly a shame because he was just, you know, it's like every race so far.
So Bobby Rahal, and we're aboard his car now with the car cam. He is #1 in this race.
I would bet that it happened right there in turn 5 because that is very treacherous, very slippery. We've seen more than one car today nearly hit the wall there.
We'll go back and review what happened to Teo Fabi in the Porsche a short time ago. There was a spin out. Here's Teo Fabi in the green #8 car being pursued by Michael Andretti, who's overtaking him, the leader at this point. Michael got through, but John Jones and Teo Fabi collide, and Fabi is through for the day. Here's another view.
Now here you can see how narrow the track is there. There's just no place for you to go.
Actually,
Somebody
Johnny
gets
Fabi's
sideways.
all right. He's back in. He's running again, Teo Fabi. Let's go back to Sally.
Okay, Michael Andretti right now is talking to his father. As soon as he's done, we'll get an interview with him. We understand what happened. Michael, I know this is a terrible time to talk to you, but what happened out there?
I made a mistake. Costly one.
What was the mistake? I understand you locked your brakes.
I locked the front brakes and got into the slippery stuff and I couldn't turn.
The car was working so well for you up until that time. You were very satisfied with it. In fact, you were kind of hoping for rain because you're such a good rain course driver.
The car was working fine in the rain and the dry. I mean, it was just, I let everybody down in this one.
Sorry, Michael. Back up to you, Don.
Thank you, Sally. Bobby Rahal, we're on his car again. Michael Andretti's led every race but Portland. He won the pole at Detroit, you may remember, then fell out near the end while he was leading.
That's an extremely disappointing situation for Michael because he knows that it was his fault. You know, he made a mistake, he said, and he owned up to that. So you've got to admire the young man for that. He was doing an extremely good job. Bobby Rahal is now leading, and that puts the Cosworth out front.
Bobby Rahal in the Cosworth, running #1, Emerson Fittipaldi. We haven't heard a lot about Emo recently, but he is very much in the running for a 4th consecutive Indycar victory. He is back up to #2, the pole leader, and the man who's got the hat trick going. He's won the last 3 kart events.
Here's Bobby Rahal chasing. And he and Emerson, Rahal and Emerson are on the same lap, so could be that if we get another course yellow, they'll get closed up and make a whole new program out of it.
Rahal closing in on Danny Sullivan. Sullivan currently in 8th. Sullivan said start position was everything because there's going to be heavy traffic all day. Fittipaldi had everything right with a record time in winning the pole again this year. So Rahal, who had an engine that was misfiring, negotiates a pass of Danny Sullivan. And Bobby Rahal, as you see, is the leader of the Meadowlands Grand Prix.
It's Bud to the beat.
Come on, Big Brewhuna, surf's up.
Let's do it, Brew Doggy.
Hey, everybody, there's going to be a surf-off.
Vodka.
That's a big wave.
9-6. Too big. It's the Bud Time High Five.
Oh, whoa.
What happened?
Who won?
Next time, let's just arm wrestle.
What's that?
Hey, buds, now you can get a special offer on Bud to the Beach sunglasses. Just look for this display wherever you buy Bud or Bud Light.
The fiber that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police, makes up the unique belt of Road Handler Treadlock radials.
Great low prices. Road Handler Tough. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
This is where we started. A clean sheet of paper. No boundaries. No rules. No preconceived ideas. Just a desire to build the best sports car in the world. A car for one driver in 1,000. A car destined to leave its mark. The new Z from Nissan.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protecting. Man, what a difference.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results.
STP oil treatment is the edge.
Do it yourself. Do it for yourself. Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Wood finish for beautiful color like no other, and Minwax polyurethane for fast drying protection that lasts.
Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Rain falling hard now in the Meadowlands of New Jersey as the leader in the blue and yellow car, Bobby Rahal, is being stalked by Emerson Fittipaldi, running right behind him, running second. We have now completed 100 laps of this 150-lap race, and the driving conditions are abominable at the moment. There's going to be more cars spinning out. We saw Michael Andretti driving a great race. He said it was a driver mistake that took him out, but certainly any driver error here is compounded by the conditions, as it is a very wet track.
Oh, it is extremely wet, and of course, coming down those straightaways, it's hard to see when you have 3 or 4 cars together like that. It's impossible to see because you're in such a heavy fog of rain. So Bobby Rahal is doing an extremely good job, and it could be that Cosworth, because it doesn't quite have as much snuff as the Chevrolet, might have it better in the rain.
So far today, there have been 4 lead changes among 3 drivers. Fittipaldi at the outset, then Michael Andretti for most of the race, and now Bobby Rahal. The Goodyear Blimp America is under the command of pilot Don McDuff from Anson, Texas. Bobby Rahal and Emerson Fittipaldi running 1-2.
You know, Don, the Cosworth engine won the first 109 races in karts from 1979 to 86, but has won 0 in the last 22 races since 88 and 89. So today might be Cosworth's big chance to put another victory together.
This sport, since 86, has really been dominated by 7 drivers under Chevrolet power.
There we saw Teo Fabi in the green Porsche there, really picking their way through here. You can see Emerson still is working a little bit better. He's going by Rick Mears on the inside, so Emerson may be waiting for his opportunity. You have to be very, very cautious and pick your way in this wet.
Emerson Fittipaldi in the red and white Marlboro car. He said, there is something everyone does best. What I do best is go fast. He's been a 2-time Formula One World Driving Champion, and now looking to become for the first time the Kart Indy World Champion. He's on a hot streak, one that most drivers dare to even dream about. How does he feel about riding a crest like this?
I think in the race anything can happen, but I never expect to happen this dramatically. After winning the Annapolis was, like a dream for me, and then after the Annapolis we still continue winning 2 races, and that's great. And just hope we can keep it like that, but that's, that's a fantastic feeling. So any sport where when you are winning, that's like a compensation for so many years of hard work. Tough work on my side, with the team, and achieving success now is the bonus. It's great. I hope I deserve for a long time still.
Fittipaldi very much has to do with luck. He said, when I'm winning, I'm playing against the odds.
Boy, Emerson is really putting the pressure on Rahal. We can see him squeezing the car just a little bit more off of the corners, getting a lot of wheel spin and getting it a little bit sideways. So he's trying to make the right moves to be able to take over that lead position.
I stopped by this morning, Johnny, Emerson Fittipaldi's pit area, and asked him his crew how they felt about running in the rain. They said, well, he's the best wet course driver in the world. The problem is you don't know what everybody else is going to do on a wet track.
Oh, boy, that's the truth. And this is very treacherous because it's not only got some oil down on it because it was dry for a while, but now it's gotten totally wet, and it's very, very slippery out there.
Emerson's wife is viewing from the stand. She's often in his pit, was in Indianapolis when he won there. The parents of 4 children. This 42-year-old Brazilian multimillionaire Emerson Fittipaldi watching on the Diamond Vision. Watching herself right now. They live most of the year in Miami, Florida now. Travels on his own private jet. Most of the Indycar drivers, international figures running all over the world. I asked Teo Fabi where he lives when he's away from the track. He said on an airplane.
Well, that's the truth. With the schedule we've had where they run every weekend, it is just about that way. Rahal is doing a very smooth job. He's not getting out of shape very much. And, of course, that's where when you're in the lead like that, you can pick your way around. And the guy behind you's got to figure out a way to get by. And Emerson is doing everything he can to do that.
Fittipaldi, the PPG kart driver standings leader, running second right now. We'll be back after this.
Nissan builds cars for people who have a certain enthusiasm for the cars they drive. Of course, some drivers are a little more enthusiastic than others. Nissan, built for the most demanding race of all, the human race.
Tonight's forecast calls for something fresh. New Domino's Pan Pizza. With a 99-cent chance of precipitation. Just your time to try new Domino's Pan Pizza, because we'll throw in a 6-pack of Coca-Cola Classic for a cool 99 cents. Domino's Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
The rain continues to fall at the Meadowlands. Don Cricky with Johnny Rutherford, Gary Gerald, and Sally Larvick at the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix. There's the leader in the yellow and blue car, the Craco car, Bobby Rahal, a guy who wins a lot of kart races, 10 in the last 2 years, or the last 4 years. And now the second place runner right there in the red-white Marlboro car is Emerson Fittipaldi, trying to stalk him in the rain and the slick.
Well, he has really closed the gap. He's right up there on him now, making his move. It's starting to look like a hydroplane race out there with all of the clouds of water that the cars kick up. But Bobby now has some traffic to contend with. He's got to be very, very cautious. Emerson is good in this sort of a situation. He is extremely good, probably one of the best.
Rahal is certainly a wet track driver also. Bobby Rahal, originally from Medina, Ohio, doing very well in tough course conditions here at the Meadowlands. Emerson making a run now as Emerson Fittipaldi.
Oh, he hit the inside fence. Emerson was forced to the inside. It looks like he tried to make the move on the inside on Rahal. Suddenly, he got into the fence.
See if there's any damage to that left rear tire. That's where the contact was made. He's still outrunning as Emerson Fittipaldi as his wife Teresa roots him on from the side.
You can see the flash. It doesn't appear that he knocked anything askew on Emo's car, but you never can tell. It might be something just out enough that he'll have to slow down, and if Rahal can get by this traffic and move ahead, then we'll be able to tell.
Racing luck, sometimes it's good. It was there for Emerson Fittipaldi. And recall the Andretti's who were running 1-2 going out earlier in the race on contact.
Here he's moving on the inside. You can see him pushing down in there. Rahal moves over. They bump. Emo just makes contact. I don't think it did enough damage to Emo's car to make any difference.
Debbie Rahal looking on. It's not easy for those who sit and wait.
No, it really isn't. Emerson Fittipaldi's wife, Teresa, there, waiting to hear what the outcome is. And, of course, watching the television screen. Rahal is still moving. Emo is still right there, so he gets a chance to go by John Jones' slower car, and he's you can see him get sideways there, fishtailing. He is pushing to try to catch Rahal for sure.
John Jones doing the right thing, giving him room. Jones running 13th. Let's go down to Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, standing here excited in the rain, Teresa Fittipaldi, you had confidence that he would get the pass. He's now in the lead. That must make you very happy.
Yeah, very happy. He deserves everything. You know, I think he's going to beat the record to win 4 races on a row.
Well, he continues to battle right up there in front. Terrific fight with Bobby Rahal, and Emerson Fittipaldi confident that he'll be able to pull it off and keep this winning streak alive.
Fittipaldi continues to track the leader. Bobby Rahal in the rain. That's Rahal in the blue and yellow car. Right behind the Marlboro car is Emerson Fittipaldi, the 42-year-old Brazilian who has dominated the Indycar circuit this year with 4 wins in the last 5 races, including 3 in a row. He started off his run of success with victory at the close of the Indianapolis 500. this race won a year ago when he made contact with the eventual Little Al Unser. And Unser went on to win for a second time, but he's out. Right now running 5th is Little Al.
Rahal is trying to take advantage of this traffic to get by these guys. He hopes they see that bright yellow and blue car and give him a chance to get by so he can put some cushion between himself and Emerson Fittipaldi.
Trying to make a move on Scott Pruitt, so he's going to lap the 3rd place runner right now, Scott Pruitt. It's really a 2-car race for 1st place as Rahal goes by Scott Pruitt, and we go down to Sally.
Okay, I'm with Barry Green, and there's a lot of strategy now as to whether you're going to make a last pit stop or you're going to go all the way, Barry.
Well, it's going to be a close call, Sally. You know, we're getting a lot better mileage because of the wet weather. We're going a lot slower, but it's going to be real close. You know, we're counting the numbers almost every lap, and right now, you know, what Bobby is saying that once he gets in traffic, he almost can't see, so it's getting pretty dangerous out there.
Okay, there's the word from Barry Green. They're just going to have to take a wait-and-see attitude.
Almost like hydroplane racing. They're kicking up rooster tails on this wet track. And now
we have a car into the front stretch wall. Yes, Jeff Wood has made contact. There you can see both front wings and the nose cone are gone. He's still under power, it appears, so he is going to be able to limp around the racetrack, hopefully staying out of the way of the faster cars. He's going to try to cut across there.
There is the leader, negotiating this tight course very well in very difficult conditions. Bobby Rahal being stalked by Emerson Fittipaldi.
Hot weather is pure misery on batteries. Saps the power right out of them. When a battery takes a lot of heat, sooner or later, that battery's going south. And when it does, don't settle for less than a maintenance-free, high-cranking Delco.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Don't get stranded in the heat. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-DELCO.
This is a brand new car. Put in a leading motor oil. This is an identical new car. Put in Mobil 1 and drive. Under extreme conditions, temperatures in your engine can reach 570 degrees. Of course, Mobil 1 costs more, but then look at what can happen to conventional oil. Mobil 1, isn't your car worth the extra protection?
Only one oil finished #1 at the 1989 Indy 500. Mobil 1, the choice of champions.
Next Sunday on NBC Sports World, the competition continues at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Olympian Brandy Johnson and superpower Tim Ryan, the new all-around champions, will lead America's best in the individual events finals. That's next Sunday on NBC Sports World.
Bobby Rahal continues to hold the lead of the Meadowlands Grand Prix through 143 laps of this 150-lap race. They're running under a full yellow caution flag right now. All the drivers having to maintain position behind a pace car. This is what brought it on, the yellow caution. Cogan spinning out hard, crashing into the concrete retaining wall. Kevin Cogan went out of the race, and the Horton safety team was on the track with emergency equipment. Kevin Cogan's fine, but his car is not. And meanwhile, the caution flag is out. Now, it's going to be interesting, Johnny Rutherford, to see if Rahal has enough left to even lapse the distance under a caution flag. He didn't make that pit stop.
Really is, because he's elected to stay on the racetrack. Emerson has made a pit stop, but we also find out that there may be a red flag. They may stop the race because of all of the water.
He's got it in his hand over there. He hasn't put it out yet.
No, and it's going to be interesting to see, because if they stop it, then they could call it, and it might. No, it's a checkered. They're coming out with the red. That's it. Yes, the race has been called.
So, Bobby Rahal, under Cosworth power, finally breaks the hold of the Chevy V8s.
Well, that was interesting. There's Debbie Rahal in elation with the victory. And, of course, Teresa Fittipaldi acknowledging, well, that's racing. It's the way it goes. The string is finally broken.
A tremendous driver with 15 victories, now 16 over the last 4+ years. They really saw the excellence of these IndyCar drivers put to the test today.
I can assure you, Bobby Rahal feels like he's had the weight of the world lifted off of his shoulders, because he knew he had Emerson Fittipaldi back there that could challenge him stronger than anybody else for the lead. And when you slow down like this, you lose your concentration, or you lose your your rhythm for going on a wet track. So Bobby Rahal, I'm sure, is very, very happy. I would be for winning under these conditions.
And the race ended 5 laps short of the scheduled 150 laps. It ended after 1:45. In the rain, the competition was heated. You see on the outside, Rahal made contact with Fittipaldi's car. Fittipaldi hitting that retaining wall hard, we saw, and then fortunately for Emerson, he was able to continue the race.
You can see Emerson there looking in his mirror to see if his left rear is still there.
Fittipaldi will maintain a big lead in the PPG kart point standings, but the checkered flag and the top prize money go to the Rahal. We'll be back to the Meadowlands Grand Prix after this.
New York Telephone and I have been through a lot together.
There was animal training, then home improvement, and driving lessons.
New York Telephone always took care of the wiring they installed in my home. Then I got this in the mail, telling me a federal order could change that.
Now, if you want New York Telephone to continue taking care of the wiring in your home, you have to tell us by mail or by phone. If you don't, we'll have to discontinue your current wire maintenance service. To keep the protection you've got now for the same price you're paying now, return this form today and say yes to wire maintenance service.
New York Telephone and I have been through a lot together, and I want to make sure we stay together. Definitely.
Let's stay together.
Keep the protection you've got today. Call now, 1-800-777-WIRE.
Who Done It, brought to you by the Prudential. Babe Ruth hit the first home run in an All-Star game way back in '33. Do you know who's hit the most homers in All-Star competition? Who Done It?
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish my old partner was here tonight, because this used to be our song. I have everything.
All my dreams come true.
Eddie!
You're my arms, thoughts and bombs, and a hope for two.
In the movies, happy endings are easy, but in the real world, they take solid planning. So for investment advice, peace of mind, even buying or selling a home, come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
This Hall of Famer holds the all-time record with 6 home runs in All-Star games. Not Ruth, not Mays, but Stan the Man Musial.
Bobby Rahal, the victor of the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix. It was Bobby Rahal who said before the race, it's a pleasure and a privilege to drive against Emerson Fittipaldi, and certainly it was a concern today to drive against him, as Fittipaldi was stalking in the late part of the race, but finally it ends with a red flag and the checkered flag because of the wet conditions through 145 laps. Now down to Gary Gerald.
Well, Don, the victory kiss, wife Debbie alongside Bobby Rahal comes out wet but delighted. Obviously, the Fittipaldi streak is over. I can't imagine what it must have been like out there. Tell us what this adventure has been like today.
The last, from about the 40th lap to go on, it just, I mean, a couple times I almost hit people, and I didn't see them, you know. It was just absolute, it was a wall of water in front of you, and I kept saying, this is crazy. I radioed in, I said, this is nuts. You can't see a thing, and, I mean, it's only a miracle that I'm here. I mean, I missed a few guys by inches that all of a sudden, you know, came out of the mist, and, you know, just a great day for the Craco team.
You had contact at one time. Emerson was challenging. He was right off your backside. Cars banged together. Were you aware that Emerson was right there, or was that close?
I wasn't aware that he was that close. I mean, I knew he was close at one point, but, you know, there's so much water coming off these things, you can't see a damn thing, so front or backwards. So I appreciate Emerson's a champion, and I appreciate his, you know, him being patient, but it was, you know, in traffic, you just couldn't see a thing. You get by yourself, and off you went.
All right, Bobby, our congratulations. Let's check with Sally Larvik now. She's with Emerson.
Okay, moments ago, there was Emerson kissing his wife, Teresa. You are the happiest second-place finisher I've ever seen. Why, Emerson?
I'm very pleased. Beginning of the race, I had a lot of problems when the track was half dry, half wet.
My Marlboro car wasn't handling well. And then when the rain still started going heavily, I started picking up position. The car was flying. It's a shame I nearly passed Bobby, but Bobby did a great race, and he deserved it.
Could you actually see where you were going?
Oh, yes. The last few laps was nearly instrument flight after the pit.
Your streak is over. Is that a little disappointing for you?
No, I think we are going to get back again. There's no problem. Toronto will be there.
Congratulations, Emerson.
Thank you.
Emerson Fittipaldi, who wears his success so well when he wins, the same when he finishes second. Difficult conditions for the fans also, but they saw a great race, and Bobby Rahal was the victor, taking the Meadowlands Grand Prix for a second time. The Budweiser checkered flag final standings: Rahal, Fittipaldi, Pruitt, Mears, and Little Al Unser, followed by Zell, Lyondike, Sullivan, Fabi, and Brayton. The overall PPG kart point standings show Emerson Fittipaldi still with a substantial lead. As you look at the breakdown of the rest of the field, 15 cars were running at the end, 13 went out. On a very tough day, Fittipaldi now with 124 points overall. Rick Mears second with 92. Al Unser Jr. with 78, followed by Pruitt, Fabi, and Rahal. It was a tough day for the racers and their equipment. The track was still pretty dry early when there was contact here. Roberto Guerrero in the red car having problems with his brakes. At this point, he was up the tailpipe of Danny Sullivan, the Miller High Life car. And listen to this connection here as he makes hard contact. Sullivan stayed in the race. Guerrero later went out. Here is Pancho Carter spinning out. Part of a famous racing family. His dad drove Indy cars for 15 years, Dwayne Pancho Carter. And now Bobby Rahal, the eventual winner, with his car cam on board, negotiates a traffic mishap. He got through all right, but some cars went out. And here's another problem. This time, Michael Andretti in the white car manages to get by trouble between Fabi and John Jones. But on the next lap, the leader, Michael Andretti, would go out. Now, late in the race with the intense rain falling, you see on the far left, the car of Rahal bumped Marlboro car of Fittipaldi into the wall, but Emerson stayed in the race. Kevin Cogan did not. A short time later, as he hammered hard into the retaining wall, his car was really totaled. He was all right, though, but that was the end of the racing day. And then the yellow caution flag was out, and Bobby Rahal, following the pace car, took a checkered flag along with the red flag, which came out after 145 laps. So the scheduled 150-lap race stopped because of the very difficult conditions. Now for Johnny Rutherford and for Sally Larvick and Gary Gerald, this is Don Cricky. Glad you could be with us at the 6th Meadowlands Grand Prix, won by Bobby Rahal. And stay tuned to NBC Sports Today for live final round coverage of the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic. A very tight match at the top of the leaderboard there. A field of outstanding players competing for $850,000 in prize money on the home course of U.S. Open champion Curtis Strange in Williamsburg, Virginia. That's coming up next on NBC Sports.
This has been NBC's Sports World, and today it was brought to you by Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. By AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. And by Valvoline Motor Oil, people who know use Valvoline.